All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into something absolutely fascinating, the hidden biology of growing up. I mean, have you ever stopped to wonder how a completely helpless, crying human infant eventually transforms into a complex, culturally functioning adult? You know, someone who can navigate tricky office politics, build deep, meaningful relationships, and actually contribute to society? Honestly, when you think about it, it seems like magic. But it's not. It is deeply, fundamentally scientific. We're going to look really closely at the invisible forces of evolutionary biology and developmental sociology to map out this exact journey. We are going to unpack the hidden biological software that shapes who we are, why we act the way we do, and how we actually, at the end of the day, become the adults we are today.
It's so easy to look around our modern lives and feel completely separate from nature, right? We build these massive, sprawling, concrete cities, we write incredibly complex legal systems, we trade invisible digital money, we stare constantly at glowing smartphones, and we fly across the globe in giant metal tubes. But if you strip all of that away, underneath our clothes and underneath all that shiny technology, we really have to ask ourselves, are we actually just ancient mammals operating in a modern world? Have we just placed this sleek, modern technological layer over a very old, very primal biological engine?
So, to answer that question, we turn to something called social ethology. This is a scientific lens that basically stops looking at what humans say they believe and starts looking at the ancient survival and social functions behind our everyday actions. Instead of just taking our surface-level explanations for our behavior at face value, social ethology asks, what is this behavior actually doing for us socially? Take, for example, someone buying a wildly expensive luxury sports car. They might claim they just love the engineering. But social ethology asks, is this actually about securing social status? Is it about signaling access to immense resources to the rest of the tribe? Is it about seeking protection, or maybe maintaining a dominant place within the social hierarchy? It's kind of like looking under the hood of human nature.
Here is the roadmap for our journey today. We'll start with the unfinished human mammal, move into building the safe base, explore play, rank, and tribe, uncover the animal under the suit, examine the cultural upgrade, and finally define what it means to become a complete adult.
Section 1. The unfinished human mammal. Born completely dependent.
As the source material beautifully puts it, we are not angels trapped in bodies. We are profoundly mammalian. But think about the stark contrast between us and other animals for a second. A baby foal can literally stand up and run within hours of being born. A lion cub is out there learning to hunt within a year or two. A chimpanzee infant quickly learns to navigate the troop. But a human baby? A human baby desperately needs the family for an incredibly, almost shockingly long time. At 2 years old, we're still just figuring out basic walking and talking. We can't feed ourselves, we definitely can't protect ourselves. But here's the crazy part. This profoundly long childhood is actually our greatest evolutionary superpower. It gives us the necessary, absolutely critical time to download complex culture. We need those vulnerable years to master nuanced language, to understand incredibly complex social hierarchies, and to develop deep empathy. We survive because we are built by our relationships. And that construction, well, it takes time.
To truly understand our human-animal instincts, we can break down complex behaviors using a brilliant framework known as Tinbergen's 4 questions. Take a really messy human feeling like jealousy. A shallow, modern view just dismisses it, right? We just say, oh, they're just insecure. But using Tinbergen's model, we dive much deeper into the biology. First, we look at the mechanism. What immediate hormones or environmental cues actually trigger that jealous reaction in the brain? Second, development. How did this jealous tendency grow and wire itself during this specific person's childhood? Third, we examine the function. How did jealousy actually help our ancestors survive? Did it protect their critical relationships or guard their social rank from rivals? And finally, evolution. How did this territorial emotion evolve across millions of years of mammalian history? Suddenly, we aren't just looking at a petty moral failure anymore. We're looking at a deeply ingrained ancient survival tactic playing out in real time.
Section 2. Building the safe base. Learning to trust.
Picture a toddler playing at a park. They run a few feet away toward the sandbox, then they suddenly stop. They look back over their shoulder to make sure a parent is still watching, and once they lock eyes, they run a little further. That parent is the pride's safety net. Human families function exactly like a lion's pride. Out on the savannah, the adult lions powerfully defend the territory and fiercely protect the cubs so they can safely play and learn the harsh ways of the world. The human family does the exact same thing, just in a beautifully complex, psychological way. We defend the home, sure, but we also provide emotional boundaries, consistent discipline and secure attachment. A confident, independent child isn't one who is just tossed into the world and told to tough it out. A truly confident child is one who has internalized enough safety from their family pride to bravely explore their environment, knowing with absolute certainty that they have a safe base to return to when things get scary.
The crucial point here, and this is absolutely fascinating, is that a parent's comforting voice eventually internalizes to become the child's own inner voice. The adult mind is literally built from the voices of childhood. When a baby is born, it is entirely ruled by terrifying, raw feelings. Hunger, fear, loud noises, a wet diaper, it all feels like a literal life-or-death emergency. They have absolutely zero emotional regulation. But through the mechanics of co-regulation, where a calm parent physically holds and soothes a screaming baby, the child's nervous system slowly learns to map onto the parent's calm state. Over years, the family teaches them that anger doesn't have to mean total destruction, and sadness doesn't mean the absolute end of the world. A child who is consistently comforted after a failure slowly learns resilience. They literally wire the neural pathways for emotional regulation. They are building the internal capacity required to not be completely enslaved by their raw animal feelings later in life.
Section 3. Play, Rank, and Tribe. The Social Laboratory.
So, as we leave the absolute safety of the den, our social needs drastically evolve. In the infant stage, the primary overriding need is pure attachment. The entire social focus is just on safety and the caregivers. But as the child becomes a juvenile, the focus shifts to play and rules. And let me tell you, play is serious, high-stakes business. When kids play house or war or school, they aren't just wasting time. They are actively rehearsing adult behaviors. They're testing boundaries, practicing hierarchy, learning how to read subtle social signals, and figuring out peer negotiation and coalition building. Then we hit the adolescent stage, where the primary need violently shifts to rank and identity. The social focus becomes an intense, almost desperate pursuit of status and pure approval. The playground and the middle school cafeteria teach things the family simply cannot. They teach the brutal realities of negotiation among equals, the vital importance of loyalty, the devastating pain of betrayal, and ultimately how to survive in the much wider, unforgiving tribe.
During adolescence, this intense need to belong can easily overpower rational thought. I mean, we've all seen teenagers do wildly foolish, dangerous things just to fit in. But ethology tells us this isn't just dramatic teenage angst or a lack of maturity. For our mammalian ancestors out on the savannah, being expelled from the safety of the tribe didn't just mean hurt feelings. It literally meant death. No shared food, no protection from predators, no survival. Game over. So today, when a young person feels absolutely terrified of being excluded from a group chat or left off the invite list for a party, that awful feeling of cortisol flooding their body isn't an overreaction. It is an ancient, blaring biological alarm ringing in their nervous system, warning them of severe, life-threatening social danger. Their brain literally thinks they are going to die if they are left out.
Section 4. The Animal Under the Suit. Ancient Drives. It is incredibly revealing to look at our modern adult lives and realize we are still driven by these exact same ancestral animal instincts. I mean, really ask yourself, do you buy that luxury item strictly for its material quality, or is it just your version of a lion's mane? A male lion's thick, dark mane physically signals his size, his peak strength, and his genetic dominance to the rest of the pride and to rival males. A human uses an outrageously expensive watch, a prestigious PhD title, or a sleek luxury car to signal the exact same biological message: high status and exclusive access to resources. And what about primates endlessly picking bugs out of each other's fur? We do the exact same thing, just verbally. Gossip, small talk, texting your friend a funny meme, asking a coworker to grab coffee. It's rarely about exchanging vital survival information. It's social grooming. We are verbally grooming each other to maintain our bonds and ensure our alliances are intact. And that booming lion's roar claiming the territory? Today, that's the CEO delivering a forceful keynote speech or a politician holding a massive rally. It functions exactly like a silverback gorilla thumping its chest to assert dominance over the group.
We really like to think we've moved past tribalism, but we exhibit it every single day. We passionately defend our office desks, our property lines, and our favorite parking spots like lions fiercely defending a stretch of the savannah. It is pure, unfiltered territoriality. And because we are a deeply, fundamentally social species, we are absolutely obsessed with our reputation. In ancient times, the group's memory of your value was absolutely essential for your survival. If you were known as a reliable hunter who shared meat, the tribe took care of you when you got sick. If you had a bad reputation, you were abandoned. Today, we use social media as our massive modern reputation market to desperately secure our rank in the hierarchy. Every single like, comment, and new follower is a tiny digital social touch telling our ancient, anxious mammalian brains that we are valued, that we have status, that we won't be abandoned, and that we still safely belong to the tribe.
Section 5. The Cultural Upgrade. Symbols and Language.
Now, this is where we dramatically diverge from the lions and the chimpanzees. Human civilization is not the denial of our animal nature, it is the training, decoration, expansion, and regulation of that exact nature. Through the absolute miracle of complex language, we are able to create an imagined kinship with millions of perfect strangers. A lion pride is strictly limited by direct physical relationships and the immediate territory they can walk. But humans, we can feel a deep, fiercely protective tribal bond with someone we've never even met, simply because we share a national flag, a religious belief, or even just a favorite sports team. Culture doesn't erase our biology, it translates it. We translate our raw, violent biological drives for survival into incredibly complex shared symbols. Instead of physically fighting to the death for a piece of territory, we use courts, lawyers, and property deeds. We engage in symbolic combat.
This incredible cultural upgrade paves the ultimate path to true independence. And as you can see, it's a very structured journey. We begin life completely and absolutely anchored to our caregivers, existing in a state of absolute biological dependence. Once that critical safe base is established, we cautiously venture out for supported exploration. We test the waters. Then, as we interact with the wider world, we begin internalizing the invisible rules of our tribe. The external rules and discipline of the family actually become our own internal moral conscience. And finally, if all goes well, we step into conscious, mature independence. Much like the heavy scaffolding built around a skyscraper under construction, the massive support of the family and the local tribe is ultimately meant to naturally fall away once the adult structure inside is strong enough, resilient enough, and capable enough to stand entirely on its own.
Section 6. Becoming a complete adult. Mastering the drives.
Which brings us to the ultimate question of this whole explainer. What does it actually mean to be a complete, fully functioning adult human in our incredibly complex modern society? Well, a complete adult is definitely not someone who has magically erased their animal drives. That is biologically impossible. Instead, it's someone who has recognized and mastered them. Think of the profound contrast here. Someone who can't regulate their emotions under stress is literally letting their inner animal steer the car. They bite and lash out every time they feel angry or threatened. But a complete adult regulates those emotions. They maintain stable, healthy coalitions, what we simply call friendships and professional networks, without constantly burning bridges. They accept necessary hierarchies in life and work without being overly submissive or rigidly rebellious. And perhaps most importantly, they contribute actual, tangible, productive value to the group. They are actively lifting the tribe up, whether through their daily work, dedicated caregiving, or steady leadership, rather than just passively consuming resources and needing to be constantly carried by the community. They delay immediate gratification for the long-term health of the tribe.
So, as we wrap this up, remember this. We are animals, yes, but we are animals uniquely capable of knowing that we are animals. The next time you feel that sharp, painful sting of social exclusion, or the sudden hot urge to aggressively defend your territory, or the desperate craving for status and validation, pause. Just pause and ask yourself which part of your ancient brain is driving right now. What animal drive is steering your actions today? And how will you use your incredible, unique human capacity for storytelling, morality, and conscious independence to choose a better path? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey.